So the way I like to do these panels, I like everybody to chime in. I want everybody to talk because your opinions matter to me, and this is how we all learn. So please go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you work, and give us a quick shill of what you're doing in the space.
My name is Vlad Panchenko, and I'm CEO and founder of D-Market, the biggest in-game items marketplace and NFT marketplace for games in the world since 2017.
Hey everybody, I'm Alexander. I work at Coinbase, specifically on Coinbase NFT as a design lead from the beginning of the project and currently what I'm building.
I'm Alexander as well. Yes, I'm Alexander as well. Alexander Salnikov, one of the co-founders of Rarible and doing strategy. And the main thing Rarible is focused on is to give you a marketplace if you want your own.
And I'm Michael Turpin. I'm at Michael Turpin on Twitter, Instagram, and a bunch of other things. I am with Transform Ventures and Transform Group. Transform Group has done a lot of marketing for crypto over the years, and Transform Ventures is incubating and venture studio for a number of projects, including Open Carbon, which we're looking to be the first enterprise NFT marketplace for carbon offsets.
Amazing. We've got an amazing lineup here. You guys give them a round of applause again, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we're talking about NFTs because essentially we're still early. I think that we're still early. So before we get into the nitty-gritty stuff, I want to know what made you excited about NFTs. When did it finally click? What was it? Because for me, I heard back in 2018 how NFTs can kind of solve the problem in the music industry. So, go ahead.
Well, for me, it was a life journey. Since the first games, we actually been trading in-game items like Ultima Online. But the best and most miracles case, which I've seen in my life, was in February 21st, when the Russian invasion started, the full-scale invasion in Ukraine. And in 48 hours, all crypto community all over the world donated over 20 million in crypto and NFTs to the government to stop the aggression. And then within the next couple of months, actually we got over 200 million in donations in cryptos, in NFTs like CryptoPunks, like Bored Apes. So that was one of the use cases which actually inspired me, probably mostly in the last years. And once again, I just want to thank to the old Florida and Miami community for all the support from the government, from the governor of Florida and mayor of Miami. However, it's worth to mention that NFTs could be used for good and for evil as well. And for example, there are lots of cases when the Russian-founded companies were still having their employees in Russia, paying taxes in Russia, in the country, which was 4 days ago, by the overwhelming majority in the European Parliament, was proclaimed a state sponsor of terrorism. They're still paying taxes there, making business there. So that would be my question. How do you feel about that? Not you, another Alex.
Well, let's not get too wild because we only got 30 minutes. But so NFTs can be used as a way of social good, but at the same time, because we are trying to operate in a true decentralized economy, there's always a negative aspect, which is fair.
Yeah, so for me, I'm a big foodie, so I'm in a big chat with my friends, and I think maybe 4 years ago, some of them sent me a message saying like, hey, have you heard about these new NFTs? And I had no idea what they were talking about, and I thought it stood for new food trucks, which I was very excited for, but it obviously wasn't that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm really into NFTs, specifically around the technology that comes with them, not necessarily the art or the collectibles, even though as a designer, I really do love art and have grown up, with art in my life. But it's really, I think, the technology that's behind it, being able to authenticate your own artwork or creative means or even assets, whether it be digital or in-world assets in the future, and some of the gates and keys and stuff like that NFTs might open up for people to either build or maybe even merge part of their life into, which is really, really exciting. And if you think about the metaverse, you're into that type of stuff, it gets to that place even faster. So
that was nice. For me, I think this CryptoKitties, of course, we all remember how it was, a living creature that exists on the blockchain in the form of NFT. That is cool. But so it like half clicked at that point. But the real click was when we were just about to start Rarible, and we just uploaded a picture to the blockchain, created an NFT out of that, and then we sold it to each other, like just internally inside the team. And at some point, like I bought an item from my friend, and it's just a picture uploaded to blockchain, but I can see it in my wallet. I can change my wallet to another wallet, and it still will be there. So this consumer experience, it felt almost like, I don't know, going to Amazon and shop something cool. So this emotion of this thing actually feels like my item that is in my wallet, in my pocket, and like I'm ready to pay for it. I believe that this drives like half of the consumer experience with NFTs. There is just people that are ready to pay for this beautiful thing to be theirs, just theirs.
So I would say I've gotten excited about NFTs a number of times with false starts. The first time was in 2013. I started a group called Bid Angels in early 2013, and by late 2013 there was a group trying to do some fundraising through us that was for colored coins. And I thought colored coins were like, wow, you can actually take one Bitcoin that at the time was worth maybe $100 and divide it into 100 million pieces. It's still worth the same one Bitcoin, and the 100 millionth is still worth that same Satoshi. But you could buy, say, $1 worth and have 1 million NFTs that you can structure. Colored coins never quite got there because it was just too difficult to go and attach a JPEG to it, for example. But that was the original concept. After that, I was working very closely with the Counterparty team in 2014-15, and that's where Rare Peppies came out. And there was a frenzy among the small group of kind of Counterparty users, which was also built on Bitcoin, and they figured out how to go and attach something a little better than colored coins. Then 2017, I think everybody had their kind of first experience in Ethereum with CryptoKitties. That's certainly the first asset that I bought on an ETH background. And then it kind of was fallow for a while and went through crypto winter like we're going through now. And I will say that the first thing that I saw that this is going to stick was the very small but vibrant NFT NYC conference right before the pandemic kicked in February of 2020. Every other conference was doom and gloom, and people were just going nuts buying CryptoPunks, which had been given away for free, and they were paying $4,000 or $5,000 for them. And obviously, they then went up 100x within the next year. And so the frenzy, obviously, was kind of the final, like, okay, this is happening to the point where when Beeple and $500,000 Bored Apes were the thing, that you could see that it had to pull back.
So with that being said, the industry has advanced quite a bit, and it's going to continue to advance. And I personally believe, not financial advice, but I personally believe the next bull run that we see is going to be driven by NFTs. It's going to be driven by metaverse play to earn. It's going to be driven by platforms that are actually solving real world problems and make everything more accessible. Woo, yay, yay. Make sure to smash the like, guys. But with that being said, what are you all working on to help advance the industry forward? Because let's face it, we're in a protect your capital market, also known as a bear market. So we do have a little bit of free time to do things. So what are each one of your companies working on to help advance the industry?
I think the biggest advance and the speed to make it happen would be delivered by the bridge between Web 2 and Web 3. At the moment, we can open up to the general public and like the average Joe to enter the Web 3 and do something with the items, being that a video game or streaming platform or something like that. That would be the moment when everything will just become a real business for tens of millions of people.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I can't talk about too much just from being, from a behemoth of a company, but
Come on. You got to give us some alpha. Any alpha.
Sorry,
loops.
you guys don't pay me that much to be here. No, but what I can say is I think from the beginning, Coinbase NFT has always been about communities and really trying to enable the communities and the people that surround those communities So I think that what we're trying to do to advance is just bring more people into the space in general, from different parts, whether might not be specifically a financial interest that they might want to join or something like that, but it might be a friend of theirs or somebody is a part of a community and find places where they can meet, because all those places are so disparate now between Discord and Twitter, and a lot of that stuff doesn't necessarily live on chain or anything like that. So kind of bringing all that stuff together is really, I think, a big mission of ours, and enabling new artists to come in and be able to drop their artwork and give it out to those communities that are really kind of dying to see it. So, yeah.
So, Rarible, not many of you probably know that, but okay, it's a marketplace. That's many of you know. But what are the two things that we're working on today that are advancing the space forward? The first one is the open source API that indexes all NFTs on Ethereum, Solana, Tezos, Flow, and you can spun up your own node of the indexer, and you can build your own NFT project on top of that without relying on a third-party API that can shut you off. So that's one thing. And the second thing is the Shopify. Shopify for NFTs, you can create your own marketplace. We work with brands. We've built like 10 marketplaces with brands that are big. One of them would be like Pixel Vault. And there is like 1,000 marketplaces generated, but other people using the tool that allows you to spun up your marketplace. NFTs are e-commerce of the metaverse. Let's move forward.
Don't forget you're working in Russia, paying taxes in Russia, and sponsoring terrorism.
I live in US.
No, I just asked you a question. What was your opinion about it? You live in US, but half of your company is paying taxes in Russia.
I would like to get Michael's point of view first. I would rather, if you guys want to come on my channel and debate this, more than happy to have it, but not here. Go ahead, Michael.
So I've got three things at Transform Ventures right now that are sort of in the NFT space, very different. The first one is MegaMask, which is going to be previewing next week at Puerto Rico Blockchain Week. And it is, as it sounds, a MetaMask competitor, but it's multi-chain. I'll have a couple of cool features, and it'll launch in Q1. Second one I mentioned was opencarbon.net, which, again, enterprise. I think enterprise NFTs are going to be something that really advances during the bear market, because enterprise software is getting funded. And it's not about like how much can you get for your 17th derivative of a Bored Ape. It's how can you use the properties that are built into NFT marketplaces for supply chain, for other types of real-world applications that are better done with non-fungible token technology than fungible or some other form of like private DLT. And the third one is I've got something called SimDogs, which I launched a few months ago to help raise visibility and funds for my big lawsuit against AT&T for SIM swapping. It's simdogs.com. I commissioned Andrei Mirapolsky as an artist, so you can just go and see it.
So with that being said, I really want to hit hard on how important it is to use NFTs for fair licensing, because let's face it, when we talk about a lot of these third-party predatory industries, they make you sign your life away if you're a creator, if you're making art, if you're making music, if you're a writer, etc. And then I do want to hit hard on community, because to me, community is the way that we teach. It's the way that we get more people excited about NFTs, involved, educate, so they can essentially take their power back. So when it comes to NFTs and licensing, I would really like to hear everybody's thoughts on why that's important and if your project is helping to move that forward.
Well, intellectually wise, it's very important. And this is, for example, how NFT and OpenSea started, with paying all the royalties to the artists, creators, and etc. But in the last, 3 to 6 months, OpenSea is losing tens of percentages of market share, because there are lots of other markets, trading marketplaces, who are trading NFTs and art NFTs, not paying any royalties at all, just cutting those like 5%, and people are going there, buying it, selling it, and it just how market decides that somehow we don't have to use NFTs to pay royalties to actual IP rights holders and those who create. And again, it doesn't make me happy. We have to fix it somehow. But yeah, but this is the reality we live in, and this is what's happening right now.
Yeah, for us, it's royalties in general are fairly new for us. We are trying. Again, I can't really talk about too much of it.
You can't talk about anything to us.
I
Come
know.
on, come on.
I'm so sorry. If you guys
Can you
wanna
tell
ask
me
about
backstage
design.
then? I'll sign an NDA.
Maybe. Everybody get on NDA. Lock the doors. Yeah. So I mean, but what I can say is that we really respect the artists in general and want to give as much back to them as I think most of our team got into it for that reason. Most of the reason why Coinbase NFT at Coinbase was created was around that reason. So again, it's not always going to be perfect, just because there's money being involved in a lot of those things. So yeah, we as a team definitely have that as a major top of mind thing that we want to continue to work on and push and make sure that we're giving back to artists as much as possible.
If we just talk in broad about like why NFT licensing is important, first of all, I love crypto for the fact that you don't need legal for it to exist. So like everywhere in the world, you need to have the legal ground and then something happens. In crypto, it can just work and then the legal can catch up. So now we're seeing the legal to catch up with NFTs, and of course to connect with Web2, to connect with everywhere, we need licenses to just exist in the legal sphere. So like projects like A16Z, open licenses for NFTs, absolutely love it. One really great example of licensing that I saw recently was like Animoca released a license that preserves royalties. You can actually like sue the marketplace that doesn't respect royalties, or you can like DMCA yourself from that marketplace. So those are use cases that are really cool. We need licensing, we need CC0. This is the absolutely must-have for the wider institutional adoption. It's period. But great, we can even work without it. That's what I love.
Question though, is Rarible, is it making it optional for people to pay royalties like some of the other platforms?
No, we support royalties and we won't support royalties, and all of you should support royalties, and that should be an artist's choice.
And then Michael, can you talk to us a little bit more about, because you were the one that mentioned it on stage about the licensing and the IP rights. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So of the three projects that I mentioned, the only one that's relevant as being a consumer, kind of rights-based offering would be SimDugs. With Open Carbon, we're just selling physical carbon largely to Fortune 5,000 companies and using it as a method to be able to track it cradle to grave to retirement. With SimDugs, first of all, what you were saying about kind of the legal catching up, it eventually catches up. I think for the most part that there are very few courts that are going to say, well, the smart contract overrules the written contract. There haven't been a lot of cases, but in most jurisdictions, they're going to say, yeah, no, the smart contract didn't follow the written contract. We're going to enforce the written contract. But I think right now what's happening is that there's just so many early examples, and I believe what you're going to have is best practices like a common commons type approach. I mean, with our one-of-ones, with SimDugs, the more expensive ones, we basically just copy and pasted the Bored Apes rights. And we're giving everybody who has a one-of-one the ability to go and monetize it, without paying anything to Andrei Maripolsky, the artist, for their one-of-one. They just can't say they own the entire SimDugs series. With the generative pieces that are going to come out that'll be lower priced, they won't have that.
So as far as moving forward, because let's face it, crypto, Bitcoin, NFTs, they're still a little bit complex to use. It's kind of hard for people to mint NFTs, especially if you don't come from a tech-savvy background like myself. But how can we start to break down some of these barriers and get people that aren't super tech-savvy excited about NFTs, continue to use them for social good, and also continue to educate?
I'd say that we go through the regular media, like through the video games, through the live stream broadcasting, when you will not actually understand from the very beginning that this is NFT or something is happening. It's just an entertainment mechanism, like a meta game, where you're being part of it. And then at some point, you just don't realize that you're trading something, collecting something. If you want to dig further, you will have that possibility. But if not, it's just another live show, but with interactive communication and interactive engagement. And the same why I'm 100% sure that the locomotive of engagement would be video games, because this is where we can build the business, have fun, make money, and also it's all around the virtual items and NFT.
So I got one more question for you though. So let's talk about it. Some gamers are not very excited about NFTs.
Most of them, like 90% of them. I've been there and I totally understand, because 99% of NFT cases for the gamers, you can see on top of the news media and etc. are all scams. That game A just released NFTs, sold them, and just ran away. Game B promised this and this and that, and it never happened. But as I just said, I've been trading in-game items when I was at like middle school, and I really believe that that virtual world opening up possibilities for entrepreneurs through the NFTs, that's a $1 trillion possibility. But we still are missing a good AAA cases to show off around and say, look, this is kind of a Fortnite, but with open economics, with NFTs, where you can have fun, build a business, but everything is safe and trustworthy. At the moment we see the AAA case, lots of things will change. But I honestly understand gamers who are infatuated because of all what's happening and what they see.
So do you think it's going to take for a AAA game to launch the NFTs successfully for in-game items for the rest of people to be like, oh, this is great, we need to do this, I like this better?
To turn around the narrative, that will take a AAA game. For example, how it happened with free-to-play games. Fortnite wasn't the first free-to-play game where it was completely free-to-play but made billions of dollars trading skins. But it was the first game to convince the video games publishers and creators community to create more and more free-to-play games, because that was an example. There were free-to-play games before, but this AAA multi-billion-dollar example turned everything into a positive way. That's why we are building, we're helping to build, and I see those examples, and I'm excited to see them coming.
I think I'm going to get kicked off stage, so let's wrap this up really quickly. Would you like to tell us really quickly how Coinbase NFT is going to kind of help bring the new people in?
Yeah, for sure. I think like from the beginning, we've always wanted to bridge that Web 2 and Web 3 vision. A lot of us that work at Coinbase NFT, specifically myself, I came from Instagram and from Facebook for many years, and a lot of us have that knowledge from Web 2 deeply ingrained, and a lot of that stuff starts with communities and social. I know I've been harping on this community thing, but that is kind of where it is. It's you build it, they'll come type thing, and a lot of us have really just trying to find ways to whether it be from an educational standpoint or from an interest standpoint or whatever it might be, to bring people from that Web 2 side of things to fully being integrated into Web 3, and yeah, that's what we literally do every single day.
It's coming. It's coming.
It is coming. It's technically here, but it's a bigger wave is coming for sure.
Alex, and then Michael.
Sadly, the biggest barriers for adoption are out of our hands per se, because most of them are okay, the biggest problem is probably when your Ethereum transaction fails without being tech savvy. There's no reason you can cancel that one and send a new one. So the biggest adoption hurdles will be solved on the wallet, L1, L2 layer, and we can only pray for the gods that will be doing that on Ethereum. What is in our hands is the interoperability and partnership. So the more NFTs are integrated into different companies, into different products, the same NFTs, the more interoperable they are, the more reason there is to create new technologies for them. So that's what we all can do. Let's go to enterprise. Let's go to software. Let's integrate MetaMask there. Let's integrate more wallets. Let's integrate NFTs. If you know anybody who has a company who has something, allow them, help them integrate NFTs there. That will help the space.
And finally, Michael.
Yeah, so two things. Number one, what you're talking about with the technology integration, that will be fixed. You know, I'm probably the oldest person on this panel, and I remember very vividly the problems with the internet in the early 90s, and people were saying it's never going to get fixed. People are not going to go and put up with, like, you know, an hour to download a video, and, you know, if all the things that are just, you don't even think about them anymore right now. There's no way that if you saw the 1995 era internet that you would think that you would ever have 5 billion people on the internet. And similarly, you know, I originally thought that the main way that we get to 1 billion users was through the phone companies. Having dealt with a few phone companies now in my lawsuits, I don't think they're going to be the followers, not the leaders. Video games, game adoption absolutely is something you can move it up slowly. But honestly, I think that the biggest driver right now that's going to fix all these other problems is going to be Web 2 users being seduced over to Web 3. Twitter alone with Twitter Blue, Instagram, Facebook, all having you being able to go and put your NFTs on in the next wave is going to drive everybody to want to have them and to know how to use them, and that will drive funding for the tools.
Agreed. Thank you all so much. Please give our amazing panelists a round of applause.